Well, my name is Jess Rayner. I'm here with my dad, Thom Rayner, and I'm excited that we have back with us. If you joined us for the previous episode, we are back with Mike from Church Growth Services. So, Mike, welcome back to the Church Answers podcast.
Hey, Jess. Hey, Thom. Great to be here.
It's great to have you, Mike. And we always love the nuggets that we get from you about stewardship, giving, generosity. There's just so much. And most people, most even church leaders, really don't know these facts that you give us on an ongoing basis. So we love to keep inviting you back so you can inform our folks about that. We love the partnership we have at Church Answers with Church Growth Services. Mike and his organization have been around a long time, and they're kind of the granddaddy in the good sense of it, not in the aged sense, but the kind of the granddaddy of stewardship and giving and generosity for churches. So I love having them here because we got the best of the best. Jess, I know that you want to talk about the best of the best in church bookkeeping.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we jump back into the conversation with Mike here, I want to take a minute and thank one of our sponsors, Cheney and Associates. They do tremendous work when it comes to accounting and bookkeeping for the local church. And so if you listen to this podcast and you have a need in that area, bookkeeping and finance and accounting, go to CheneyAssociates.com/church answers. Go see what they do. Go schedule a 30-minute discovery call and just have a conversation with them, because they want you to lead your church. And they're going to do that by handling the numbers. They do an awesome job coming alongside church leaders, giving them the information they need to make strategic decisions. And so thank you so much to our partner with Cheney and Associates. But we're going to be talking today with Mike from Church Growth Services about what it means to grow your congregation in the grace of giving. Mike, just share your heart on that. Just that title alone, grow your congregation in the grace of giving. Where did that come from? What's your connection with that?
Yeah, God's a generous God. He gave his only begotten Son. He gave us grace and mercy when we don't deserve it. But more importantly, just as importantly, we are ourselves. I am, at least. I'll speak for me. I've been a believer since age of 22. I'm in my sixers, and so for over 40 years, and yet walking with the Lord for over 40 years, I'm still a selfish creature. One of the great things about generosity is it challenges our selfishness and helps us to lift our eyes and see a bigger God and an opportunity to partner with him in making an impact on the world. And I love being a part of it. And the other piece is, at pastoring for 25 years, I always had more vision than volunteers and dollars. And in teaching people the grace of giving, you not only help them become better personally, but you provide more opportunities to just fund ministry to make a greater impact for the kingdom. It's a win all the way around.
I want to just give our listeners and our viewers on YouTube, listeners on your favorite podcasting app, thanks for the rating and review, and viewers on YouTube, thank you for the thumbs up and subscription. I want to give all of you a preview of what Mike is going to cover. I'm not trying to spoil the presentation of it. I'm just simply want you to know what some of these great things are that we'll be talking about. Increasing faith, a culture shift. Oh, I love that one. Unifying your congregation, and developing new volunteers. Let's start with the first one, Mike. Talk to us about increase in faith.
Yeah, we see this so often. When you go into a generosity initiative, it's usually a big project. And usually it has tied to it, especially in today's construction costs, a pretty big financial goal. And people hear those goals and they're like, man, I do not understand how our church can raise that kind of money. And then you begin to vision cast, and you begin to dream, and you begin to pray, because the best campaigns are spiritual journeys, never financial transactions. And in the end of that all, they see God do something they never thought was possible. And all of a sudden, their faith is bigger again, and they start believing God for bigger things in all areas of their lives, not just in the area of generosity. And then usually at the end of the journey, I hear people over and over say, we really weren't sure we could make our commitment, but God supplied all through that time. And we've never stepped back from giving from that level. and their faith in God and His provision grows as well. It just helps people just really get a big picture of who God is,
Yeah.
instead of having a small God.
That can be, when you think about, a church that's wanting to increase generosity, particularly raise some funds for particular projects, that can feel like a big jump. What I love that you've done is you've kind of helped create this program, this analysis that maybe helps people take that first step to see about what could be. You call it your campaign capacity analysis, and we have the link in the show notes. If you're on YouTube, or go look at the show notes. Tell us a little bit about this. Maybe it's a first step that someone can do just to go, wow, what could be? What start dreaming a little bit. Tell us about this analysis that you came up with.
Yeah, it's a great first step and a great early step. Even as you start maybe talking to an architect or to Brown Church Development and about your needs, doing this campaign analysis gives you a framework to talk to them about that says, okay, we have this much cash on hand. We really think we can raise this much. And that's coming from our experts in campaigns, Church Growth Services, who've been doing it for 65 years.
I told you they've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, we're old, man. And 65 years of serving the bride of Christ. I love that legacy that I get to be a part of. And at the same time, they begin to be able to frame for Brown or whoever they're working with. They get able to frame some ideas of what their capacity is, so that they can draw towards that capacity. Even if that means they build it in phases, it means the project keeps moving forward instead of getting stuck. And 50% of the plans that get drawn up never get built and get stuck. And that's a horrible number.
Hey, Mike, I just got to say this. Church Answers is a baby compared to Church Growth Services. If you go back to our original organization, which was called Church Growth Visions, then it became the Rainer Group, and ultimately Church Answers, that'll take you back to 1988. And if I'm doing my numbers right, we're only 37 years old. I mean, you're a mature fella, and we're still this kid trying to jump out of adolescence. So you've been doing this a long time, Mike.
Yeah, we have, and yet, the process changes all the time. Methods change all the time because the campaigns we used to do 10 years ago aren't the same as what we do today. Because people change, processes change, and the way you communicate changes, and we're constantly retooling and revising. The biblical principles never change, but God's church is an ever-changing organization, and we want to continue to be effective for 65 more years.
We're talking to Mike Stadelmayer. He leads Church Growth Services, and it is the stewardship, generosity, giving firm that we recommend with no second place in there. It's just an incredible organization. They're going to surprise you at what you can do. They're going to surprise you in how easy they make it. There's not to say it's not work, but how they get everything laid out for you. So give them a call and let them talk about it with your congregation. Let Mike come and talk to you. Mike, Philippians is one of my favorite books of the Bible. I know it's in the top 66 favorite books. It's probably even closer to number one. And there's so much in there about the right attitude and how it should reflect the mind and the heart of Christ. When those things happen, culture shifts. And you have seen it again and again, that giving changes the heart, the mind. It changes from an inward focus to an outward focus. And your church can go through an incredible culture shift as they go through a generosity campaign or something that is related to stewardship. Now, I'm not trying to take your words away, so you can put your own words in there. But that's the first thing I thought when I saw culture shift. I was thinking about the book of Philippians.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes we get so into the routine of doing church. Got to prepare for the next service, the next prayer meeting, organize those small groups, got VBS coming, those kinds of things. We get into survival mode. and this provides an opportunity to just step back and look at the bigness of God and start thinking bigger again instead of just being in survival mode. And it can be really culturally transforming for the church leadership, let alone who are in survival mode. And especially if you've struggled, some smaller churches that sometimes are struggling, they start feeling like survival is the goal, and survival is never the goal. Ministry is the goal. Changing lives is the goal. And God's a really big God. And sometimes that culture shift becomes catalytic into just the church, having a new cycle in their church life. And it's just fun to watch when it happens.
You are an organization, Church Growth Services is an organization that really specializes in churches through their leaders and members looking outwardly. And once that begins to happen, that's when the culture shift is taking place, because the unholy trinity of me, myself, and I becomes the holy trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, whom we serve. And you've been doing this again and again and again. It's not just about raising funds. It's not just about getting funds for debt or buildings. It's not, all of those are good. But what is happening is your organization is helping churches to look beyond themselves and to see the possibilities of God. That's why I absolutely love it. Oh, before I go further, Jess, there is an organization that also looks outward in a different way.
Take a moment here and just think one of our other sponsors here, Upward Sports. They are all about helping you in culture shift, and that.
How about that? Perfect tie-in.
And helping you reach others, reach your community. They are specifically focused on how you can use sports in your church to reach the community. And my favorite one, it's up there with pickleball. Pickleball's number 2, but my favorite one is the running for adults.
Pickleball and running, man. They started off with Upward basketball, and now I don't know how many sports they have, but the 2 new ones are running and pickleball.
Yeah,
I just like saying pickleball.
You do.
It comes out real. Pickleball.
You say it a lot. But we're talking about running, which is my favorite, and Upward does an amazing job of helping you as a church have a 5K challenge in your community. This one, you just need a place to run. And so maybe you're limited in facilities and you're like, I could never do basketball. I could never do soccer. Well, you can do running. Go to upward.org/runcoach, and you'll see that they'll help you do a 5K challenge. It's simple to start. Church parking lot. That's all you need. They're going to help you build connections and community. They're going to do it all for you. They just need one passionate person to help lead it. And so if you're listening to this, maybe you know that passionate person. There's probably a runner in your church. Go talk to them and say, hey, how would you like to reach the community by running? And tell them to go to upward.org/runcoach. You will see a culture shift. We're talking about, the congregation, growing your congregation, the grace of giving. We've talked about increased in faith. We're talking about a culture shift. Again, using Upward is a great way for that culture shift. But we're talking about church growth services and talking about generosity, talking about the grace of giving. And one of the things that I love, and this was the one that I think probably got me really excited, is the idea of unity. Is that Mike, that you can unify the congregation through the grace of giving? Like, how have you seen that take place? Like churches, maybe they're already unified, maybe there was some division. I don't know. How have you seen this take place where they started increasing generosity and all of a sudden the church is just rallying together?
Well, I think there's a couple things that happen in that process. One, and you'll need to go back to the previous podcast to hear more about it, is you reconnect people to vision.
Right.
And that unifies people around a common cause and a common vision, and it energizes them and excites them. But we've seen even congregations reconnect and unify even around deferred maintenance projects. We just worked with a church in Wichita, Kansas. Pastor Bob was a great pastor and leader, and a 35-year-old building, and they needed to raise $6 million. And the only thing they were going to get from that is air conditioners, fixing the parking lot, and stopping the leaks of the glass vestibule.
Oh my goodness.
And so, and yet he wrote to us after the campaign. He said, one of the things we know is that when a church is unified, when people are unified, there isn't anything they can't do. So we started a refresh campaign, and we were going to refresh not just our building, but also our ministries and ourselves. and God's people came together, and we saw just significant things happen. And that unification happens around all kinds of different types of campaigns, but it really does bring people together for a common cause and purpose. And when your church is doing a lot of chirping about little things,
chirping, I love that phrase.
You know, that's the Pastor Mike paraphrase. One of the things I tell pastors is you need to go back to recasting vision, because now they're focusing on just all these little things instead of the big picture. And this process is so much more than buildings and money. It really does so much more to help a church move forward in reaching people for the gospel of Jesus Christ.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Well, Mike, you have offered us so many different insights, and once again, I talk about nuggets, and I talk about what giving and generosity can do for a church. It's not just a campaign. It's not just raising more funds, but this last one we're going to talk about is one of the biggest pain points we hear from pastors and leaders today: developing new volunteers. Now, Mike, are you serious about this? You mean you're getting greater funding by coming together for all of this? It's going to actually increase volunteers? What's going to happen there?
Oh, absolutely. Because when they're a part of a campaign that is bigger than themselves, and God shows up and sees things happening, they get motivated to just keep going. And also, campaigns are one of the easier things to recruit people for, because there is a big vision behind it, but it's also a short-term commitment. If you recruit somebody for the nursery, they might say no because they're afraid if they go in, they're never getting out. It's a lifetime sentence.
That's true. Yeah.
In a campaign, we're like, okay, go ask them to help and tell them in 3 months you get fired.
That's a good motivating talk right there, Mike.
And of those 3 months, your team is really going to be busy 2 to 3 weeks. And once they get in and they get involved and they say yes, their commitment rises, their energy rises, and then they start serving in a lot of new areas in the church, and they feel valued and a part of something, and it really takes people to a new level. And I would suggest, you often hear the question, how do we engage young people? Mm-hmm. Young people want to be part of something bigger than themselves more than anything else. They want their life to be significant. And this is an opportunity to engage them and bring them in. And all of a sudden, that sense of significance and can really connect them to the church in a significant way and help them really move into ministry all over the church that goes far beyond this process.
We are continuing to talk with Mike Stadelmayer, who leads Church Growth Services. We've been talking about tying generosity to increase in faith, to shifting the culture in your congregation, to unifying your congregation, to developing new volunteers. And let me just urge you to go back to the previous podcast, if you have not already listened to it, Reconnecting Your Congregation to the Vision Through Generosity, where we talked about how that increases momentum, breaks long-time barriers, increases general fund giving, and expands ministry opportunities. This 1-2 punch podcast with Mike Stadelmayer has a lot more information than just a stewardship or generosity program. It has a whole church health outlook. So before we go, Mike, I'm going to let you kind of wrap this all up, put it in a bow, and I'm talking about both episodes, but you can go in any direction you want. We just want to hear from you as we begin to wrap all of this up.
Yeah, I love the fact that our company has a part of helping the bride of Christ not only accomplish a big building or get rid of debt or renovate space and do that. I mean, that's all part of what we do, but it is so much more than that. The spiritual journey your congregation goes on that helps them grow, the faith that is increased, the reconnection to vision, the volunteer engagement, all of those things help the church and move the church forward way beyond just buildings and dollars. Man, those buildings are important and you got to have the money to pay for it. But it is so much healthier and so much more than about a building and raising money. And we see churches just really exponentially move forward in so many areas and ways, and energize their congregation. And it's fun to be a part of. Right now, we're seeing churches all over the place. God is doing a new work, and churches all over the place just seeing growth and new people coming. And it's fun to see God work in the midst of those pastors and church leaders that have committed their lives for the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Mike, as always, you're a good friend. You're a good ministry partner at Church Answers, and you provide all kind of good information on these podcasts. That's why we want to keep having you back again and again, because these are the type things our tribe wants to hear, and a lot of our tribe is your tribe as well. So thank you for being here.
Yeah. Love you guys. Love the work you're doing. Keep it up.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Jess.
Mike, thanks again for being here today. It was a joy. And as we wrap this one up, we want to just close by thanking again Cheney and Associates, one of our sponsors for this episode. They do awesome work with the accounting needs of the local church. And so, if you are a local church leader, or you're in a local church, and you think you have any financial or accounting needs, go to CheneyAssociates.com/church answers. They want you to lead your church, so let them handle the numbers. They know stewardship matters. Your time is precious. Let them help with both. So go check them out. You will be pleasantly surprised at how easy and great their work they are to work with. Just like Mike, who's joined us today from Church Growth Services. We have some amazing partners here at Church Answers. We love being able to sit down and ask some of those church questions, and along the way provide some church answers. And so thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to continue to talk about the local church and continue to talk about how we can see those questions you have answered so that you can continue to run after all the ministry that God's put in front of you. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, guys.